Snow drifted in soft spirals across the quiet neighborhood, settling on rooftops like powdered sugar. Christmas lights blinked weakly on houses that seemed warm and festive from the outside, but none of that warm glow touched the small, worn-down duplex at the end of the street. Inside that house, darkness pressed against the windows. There was no Christmas tree, no wrapped gifts, only silence broken by the occasional shiver of a child trying not to cry. Rachel Winters stood at the counter with her arms crossed tightly over her chest, trying to hide the tremble in her hands. Her oldest 12-year-old, Liam, sat on the couch holding his little sister, 7-year-old Emma, who had fallen asleep while gripping a broken Christmas ornament like it was a treasure. The heating had gone out 2 days earlier, the electricity flickered every few minutes, and the pantry held nothing but half a box of spaghetti and 2 apples turning soft at the bottom of a plastic bag. Rachel swallowed hard. She had promised them she would make Christmas happen somehow. She had promised she would be enough. But promises didn't fill stomachs or warm, frozen hands. And no matter how hard she worked, 3 part-time jobs, endless nights, scraped knuckles, she could never stretch what she earned far enough. She rubbed her wrist where the watch her late husband had given her used to be. She'd sold it last month to pay the water bill. She'd told the kids she had misplaced it. They didn't question her. They trusted her too much. A sudden knock jolted her from her thoughts. She froze. No one visited them. Not since the funeral. Not since life fell apart. Liam's head lifted. "Mom? Who's that?" "I don't know," she whispered, already moving toward the door with caution in her steps. Their neighborhood wasn't dangerous, but it wasn't safe either, especially not on a night like this. She opened the door only an inch. Cold wind rushed in, and a man stood there, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a dark jacket dusted with snow. His jaw was sharp, beard trimmed neatly, eyes alert but not harsh. He looked like someone carved from stone until he met her gaze, and then something softened in his expression. "Mrs. Winters?" His voice was deep, steady, the kind of voice that could calm a storm. "My name is Cole Hartman. I served with your husband." Rachel blinked. She hadn't heard that name in years. Daniel used to talk about Cole, his best friend from the team, the man he trusted with his life. But Cole had disappeared after their last deployment. No calls, no messages. The Navy said he'd resigned. Daniel had said nothing more. Rachel gripped the door tighter. I remember the name, yes. But why are you here?" Cole shifted his stance. He wasn't shivering despite the cold. "I'm sorry to show up like this. I've been trying to track down the families of the men we lost. Took longer than I expected. Your husband, he saved my life more than once. I owed him a visit, and I owed you my respect." Something broke inside her at those words, something she'd held in place for months, but she forced her voice steady. "It's Christmas Eve. I don't think this really isn't a good time." He looked past her, not with intrusion but with awareness. He noticed the dim interior, the lack of decorations, the blankets wrapped around the kids, the exhaustion etched into her face. A shadow crossed his expression. "Mrs. Winters," he said quietly, "is everything okay?" "I'm fine," she lied. Liam had already come up behind her. "Mom, is he dangerous?" Cole crouched slightly to meet the boy's eyes, his tone gentle. "No, kid. I'm not dangerous. I promised your dad I'd look out for his family. I should have come sooner." Liam studied him and then nodded, though unsure. Rachel swallowed. "Look, I appreciate you stopping by, but we're managing. We're together. That's what matters." "Of course," Cole said softly. "But can I help with anything?" "No," she insisted too quickly. Then the lights flickered and went out completely. The house dropped into darkness. Emma woke with a small cry from the couch. "Mommy, it's dark again." Rachel's breath shook. "It's okay, sweetheart. Stay by your brother." Cole slowly stood. His voice became firmer. "Your power's been going out often." She didn't answer. He didn't need her to. "Do you have heat?" he asked. "Yes," she said automatically. But her kid's breath fogging in the air said otherwise. Cole exhaled once, long and slow, as if steadying a decision that had already formed. "Mrs. Winters," he said, "I'm going to ask you to trust me. You don't know me, and you don't owe me anything. But I made a promise to Daniel, and I'm not breaking it again." She felt her pulse rush in her throat. There was something about him, something dependable, unshakable, someone trained to protect, someone who wouldn't step away even if she pushed. But trust was a luxury she could no longer afford. "I can't let a stranger—" He raised his hands calmly. Then don't let a stranger, let Daniel's brother-in-arms help his family just tonight. Let me fix the heat, at least. It's not that simple, she whispered. Then let me make it simple. He glanced at the snow gathering on the doorstep, the kids huddled in the cold behind her. Come with me, he said quietly. You and the kids, just for tonight. I have a place nearby, warm, safe, plenty of food. You don't have to celebrate Christmas alone in the dark. Her breath hitched. I'm not leaving my home, she said. I'm not asking you to, he replied. I'm asking you not to freeze. Rachel hesitated, not because she doubted his intentions, but because she doubted her right to accept help. She had carried everything alone for so long she didn't know how to let anyone else lift even a corner of the burden. Liam tugged her sleeve. Mom, it's cold, Emma whimpered behind him. Rachel's heart cracked. Cole spoke again, softer this time. Daniel would never forgive me if I walked away from his family like this. She closed her eyes. The silence stretched. Finally, she gave a tiny nod. Just for tonight, she whispered. Relief flickered in Cole's eyes. Just tonight, he agreed. He stepped back so she could gather the kids. She grabbed their coats, thin and worn but still enough, and her bag with the last of their winter essentials. Cole took nothing from the house, didn't pry, didn't ask questions. He simply guided them to his truck, a sturdy military gray vehicle built to handle storms, and opened the back door so the kids could climb inside. As Rachel settled beside them, she noticed something on the passenger seat when Cole moved it out of the way, a worn photograph of her husband and Cole together, both younger, both smiling like they had the world ahead of them. Cole saw her looking. He kept me grounded, he murmured. He talked about you and the kids all the time. Her throat tightened. She faced forward. Snow began to fall harder, tapping softly against the windshield. Cole started the engine. Warm air blasted through the vents, and Emma sighed with relief. Rachel watched the dark street fade behind them as they drove away, and she wondered, for the first time in a long time, if Christmas might not end in darkness after all. The drive through the snowy streets felt strangely unreal to Rachel. Streetlights glowed like hazy yellow halos through the storm, and the truck rumbled steadily under them, solid and warm. Liam sat, upright, watching every turn with guarded curiosity, while Emma leaned against her mother's arm, half asleep, warmed by the first real heat she'd felt in days. Rachel's fingers twisted in her lap. She kept glancing at Cole, his eyes focused on the road, jaw tight, posture disciplined in a way she recognized instantly. Daniel used to sit exactly like that when he was determined not to let something slip through the cracks. You live close? She asked quietly. About 15 minutes out, he replied. On the edge of town. A small cabin I remodeled when I left the service. It's not fancy, but it's warm. How long have you been back? She asked, the question slipping out before she could stop it. He hesitated. A few years. You didn't contact us. I know. His hands tightened on the steering wheel. I should have. I tried once or twice, but after Daniel died, I didn't know if you'd want to see someone who survived when he didn't. The confession hit her like a soft punch. She stared at him, stunned. You think I'd blame you? He didn't answer, but the silence was enough. Rachel exhaled slowly. Daniel wouldn't want you carrying that around. No, Cole agreed quietly, but I still did. Snow thickened outside. The truck climbed a gentle incline toward the mountain road. Trees lined the path, branches heavy with white, bending like old men bowing under winter's weight. Emma stirred. Mommy, where are we going? Cole answered before Rachel could. Someplace safe, sweetheart, and warm. The little girl's voice was groggy. Is there a Christmas tree? Cole glanced in the rearview mirror, a tiny smile pulling at his lips. There's a big one, and lights, and maybe, his eyes twinkled, a few surprises. Emma gasped softly, as if the idea of a tree itself was magic. The cabin emerged through the storm, like something from another world. Wooden, sturdy, wrapped, with gentle yellow lights and a wreath on the door. Smoke curled from the chimney, promising warmth. The porch lights spilled across fresh snow. A large Christmas tree stood near the window, glowing softly with ornaments that looked hand-carved. Rachel's breath caught. Cole parked the truck and stepped out. He opened the back door and lifted Emma easily, tucking her against his chest. She clung to him without fear, too tired and too relieved to resist. Liam climbed out quickly, his eyes scanning the area still protective. Cole led them up the porch, steps, and opened the door. Warmth rushed over them like a blanket. Rachel stepped inside last, and for a moment she swayed, not because she was dizzy, but because the sudden comfort was unbearable. The cabin was beautiful in a simple way: wooden beams, cozy furniture, a stone fireplace with flames dancing softly, stockings hung along the hearth, 4 of them. She blinked. "You already?" Cole cleared his throat. "I didn't know who I'd end up finding first, but I knew Daniel would want something ready. Just in case." Something inside her crumpled, not in pain but in the ache of unexpected kindness. Emma squirmed to get down. She ran straight to the tree, eyes wide with wonder. "Mommy, it's so pretty!" Liam stood near the fireplace, rubbing his hands together. The glow softened the fear usually etched in his features. Rachel stayed by the door, her bag still clutched to her side. Cole noticed. "You're safe here," he said gently. "No one's going to hurt you. No one's going to take advantage. I'll sleep in the guest room at the back. You and the kids take the main bedroom. It's warmest." His tone held no pressure, no assumption, just quiet certainty. Rachel nodded slowly. "Thank you. Hungry?" he asked. The children looked up instantly. Rachel tried to answer casually. "We're okay." But Cole had seen too much in his life to miss the truth. He gave her a knowing look. "I made dinner earlier. Didn't know if I'd be eating, alone or with company, but I cooked enough for an army anyway. It's still hot." Emma's hands flew to her mouth. "Food?" Liam straightened, trying to hide his excitement. "Like, real food?" Cole smiled just slightly. "The realest." He went to the kitchen. The smell reached them even before they saw the plates. Roasted chicken, mashed potatoes, warm bread, vegetables seasoned and steaming. Rachel felt her throat tighten painfully. She blinked back tears as the kids rushed to sit at the table. They had not eaten a full hot meal in over a week. Rachel sank into a chair, hands trembling. Cole served the kids, making sure their plates were full before he moved to serve her. She shook her head. "They need it more. You all do," he said gently, placing a warm plate in front of her. He sat last, but didn't eat until they did. Emma took a bite and let out a tiny moan of relief. "It's so good!" Liam tried to stay composed, but hunger won. He ate fast at first, then slower, savoring each bite. Rachel barely tasted the food. Her mind spun too fast. The warmth, the kindness, the safety, it all felt unreal, like a dream she'd wake from at any moment. Cole watched her, not with pity, but with a quiet understanding that struck deeper than anything else. "You're doing your best," he said softly. Her fork froze mid-air. "You think you're failing," he continued, "but you're not. The only reason those kids are still standing tall is because you've carried them through hell." Her eyes stung. She looked away. "That strength," he added, voice low, "is something your husband admired every single day." She pressed a hand to her mouth, a small sob escaping. Cole didn't move closer. He didn't touch her. He simply waited until she could breathe again, like someone trained to steady storms rather than impose on them. After dinner, the kids played near the tree while Cole washed the dishes, refusing her attempts to help. When he finished, he showed them to the bedroom, a cozy space with quilts and warm pillows. Emma crawled into bed instantly. Liam lingered beside his mother. "You trust him?" he whispered. Rachel looked at Cole in the doorway, his silhouette framed by firelight. For the first time in a long time, she felt a weight lift off her shoulders, not because she was safe, but because she wasn't alone. "Yes," she whispered back, surprising herself. "I think I do." Liam nodded, relieved. Cole stepped back to give them privacy. Rachel tucked the kids in, kissed their foreheads, and turned off the light. She found Cole in the living room, staring quietly at the fire. He glanced at her. "They asleep?" "Almost." He nodded. Rachel hesitated, then stepped closer. "I don't know how to thank you. You don't need to, but you helped us without even knowing if we'd let you." "I didn't come to check whether you deserved help," he said softly. "I came because you needed it." Rachel lowered her gaze, overwhelmed. Cole shifted. "If you want, we can take tomorrow slow. Let the kids enjoy Christmas. I'll drive you home when the storm clears." "And after that?" she asked before she could catch herself. Cole held her eyes. "That depends on what you want," he said quietly. The fire crackled between them. Outside, the storm raged on. Inside, for the first time in months, Rachel felt something warm settle in her chest, something like hope. Morning arrived in a slow, golden hush. Snow had stopped falling sometime before dawn, leaving the world outside bright and quiet, blanketed in white that glittered under the rising sun. Rachel blinked awake to the soft creak of the cabin settling and the warmth of quilts cocooning her. For a moment, she forgot where she was. For a moment, she forgot the cold of the duplex, the fear of bills, the bitter ache of loneliness. Then she heard Emma's giggles from the living room. She sat up abruptly. The kids. Her heart leapt until she opened the door and saw them, still in their pajamas, sitting cross-legged in front of the Christmas tree, their faces glowing in the colored lights. Cole was kneeling quietly beside them, helping Emma untangle a garland she had wrapped around herself like a sparkly snake. Liam spotted her first. "Mom, look, he made us breakfast." Indeed, on the coffee table, 2 plates of pancakes steamed gently, each topped with a smiley face made of berries. Rachel rubbed sleep from her eyes. "Cole, you didn't have to do all this." He stood, brushing garland off his hands. "It's Christmas morning. Kids deserve magic on Christmas. Adults, too, if possible." She tried not to smile, but it tugged at her anyway. "You're doing too much." "No," he said simply. "I'm doing what someone should have done a long time ago." Her throat tightened. "Besides," he added more lightly, "I needed an excuse to use those Christmas plates I bought years ago and never had anyone to serve." He motioned to the table where mismatched but cheerful red and green plates sat waiting. Emma held up one of the wooden ornaments from the tree. "Cole made these! He carved them!" Rachel blinked. "You carved all these?" Cole shrugged, almost embarrassed. "Idle hands make anxious minds. Staying busy helps." That sentence struck deeper than he intended. She wondered what ghosts he fought in his quiet hours. But the cabin didn't feel haunted. Not today. It felt alive. After breakfast, Cole guided the kids toward the stockings hung on the mantel. Each one held small gifts, nothing extravagant, but carefully chosen. A puzzle for Emma, a book on science experiments for Liam. And for Rachel. She paused when she gently pulled out a soft, knitted scarf in a muted winter blue, delicate but warm. "I made that one too," Cole admitted. "It's not perfect." "It is," she whispered, running her fingers over the stitches. "It's perfect." He smiled softly but looked away, a faint flush in his cheeks. The children spent the next hour exploring the small treasures, playing on the warm rug near the fire. Rachel found herself sitting on the couch with Cole beside her, close enough that she could feel the heat radiating from him, but he kept a respectful distance. "You didn't have to get gifts," she murmured. "You barely know us." "I know enough," he answered. "Your husband trusted me with his life. That tells me all I need to know about the kind of family he had." She swallowed. "Do you miss him?" she asked gently. Cole rested his arms on his knees, staring into the fire. "Every day. But I've had to accept that sometimes people die while trying to save something bigger than themselves. Daniel died saving his team." He paused, jaw tightening. "Saving me." Rachel inhaled sharply. "I wish he hadn't." Cole looked at her. "I know. I wish he was still here. I wish he was the one sitting in this cabin making pancakes and carving ornaments. I wish he could see the kids grow up." "You're allowed to wish all that," Cole whispered. Her eyes glistened. "And I feel guilty for even feeling grateful about being here, for feeling safe with you." Cole reached out slowly, very slowly, and placed a warm, steady hand over hers. "You never have to feel guilty for surviving," he said, "and you never have to feel guilty for accepting help." She stiffened, unsure if she should pull away. He withdrew gently, not pushing the contact. "I'm sorry. Too much." "No," she whispered, "not too much." The kids burst into laughter as Emma toppled into a pile of pillow, breaking the tension. Cole chuckled, and the soft sound warmed the room even more. As afternoon approached, the storm outside cleared completely. Sunlight streamed through frosted windows. Rachel drifted into the kitchen to help with lunch despite Cole's protests. She sliced vegetables while he prepared the chicken. They worked around each other in a dance that felt surprisingly easy, natural, like this wasn't the first time they'd shared a space, like they had been doing this for years. At one point, their hands brushed while reaching for the same bowl. They both froze. Cole stepped back quickly. "Sorry." "It's okay," she said, but her heart beat too fast. Later, while the kids played outside in the snow, Rachel stepped onto the porch. Cole was leaning against the railing, watching Liam attempt to build a snow fort, while Emma tried to destroy it with giggles and snowballs. "They're doing better today," he said softly. "They are," Rachel agreed. "You gave them something to believe in again." "I didn't do much. You did everything," she said firmly. He turned to face her, and something unreadable flickered across his expression, something between longing and guilt. "I'm not trying to take his place," he whispered. She nodded. "I know. I don't want to cross a line. I don't want to make you uncomfortable. I don't even know what I'm doing half the time." He exhaled. "But I know I want to help. I want to protect you. All of you. Not because of a promise I made, but because—" His words faltered. Rachel stepped closer, her boots crunching in the snow. "Because—" He met her eyes, and the honesty in them was disarming. "Because you matter to me," he said quietly. "Even if it makes no sense." Her breath hitched. "I don't expect anything from you," he added quickly. "I don't expect you to feel the same. I know you're still grieving. I know this is all nay. But if you ever needed someone in your corner, if you ever needed someone to stand with you, to help you, to make sure your kids never have another cold Christmas—" He swallowed. "I'd like to be that person." Silence blanketed the space between them. Rachel's heart felt full, too full, like if she took one more breath it might spill over. She looked at her children playing in the snow. She looked at the cabin glowing behind them. She looked at the man who had shown up on the darkest night of their lives and lit it gently without asking for anything in return. Then she stepped close enough that their shoulders brushed. "I don't know what the future looks like," she said softly. "I don't know what I'm ready for, but I want you in our lives, Cole. I want you around. Not because Daniel knew you, not because you feel obligated." She lifted her eyes. "But because when you walked into our darkness, you brought light." Cole's breath trembled almost imperceptibly. Very slowly, slow enough to stop if she hesitated, he reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. Their fingers intertwined naturally, like it had been waiting to happen. Inside, the cabin looked warm and alive. Outside, the snow sparkled under winter sun. The world felt quiet, peaceful, possible. Liam called out, "Mom! Cole! Come help us build the snow fort!" Rachel laughed softly. "Duty calls." Cole squeezed her hand once. "Come on," he murmured. They walked down the steps together, boots sinking into soft snow. For the first time in a long time, Rachel felt the heaviness inside her shift. Not disappear, but make room for something new, something hopeful, something warm. As they reached the children, Emma grabbed Cole's leg and declared, "You have to be on our team." Cole grinned. "Yes, ma'am." Liam looked at him with shy respect. "Thanks for everything. I mean it." Cole ruffled Liam's hair gently. "Any time, kid." And as they built the fort together, laughing, shoveling snow, shouting playful instructions, Rachel caught herself smiling so hard her cheeks hurt. Later, as dusk painted the sky in soft purples and blues, Cole lit the fireplace again. The four of them sat near it, wrapped in blankets, sipping hot cocoa. The warmth, the crackle of fire, the closeness. It was everything they had been missing, and everything she hoped they could keep. Rachel leaned her head lightly against Cole's shoulder. He didn't move. He didn't breathe too deeply. He simply let her rest there, as if afraid to break the moment. For the first time since Daniel's death, she didn't feel alone. For the first time, she felt safe. And for the first time in what felt like forever, she believed that tomorrow might hold something good. Outside, snowflakes drifted softly once again. Inside, the widow and her children were no longer alone on Christmas night, because someone had come for them, and someone had stayed.